say to the honourable gentleman, I will not tolerate such behaviour. If you want to go out now, but if you stand again, I will order you out. Make your mind up. Either shut up and get out.
Stop everything. What just unfolded inside Westminster is so explosive, so humiliating, so politically fatal that even veteran MPs are whispering, this might be the end. 1 minute ago, yes, 1 minute, Nigel Farage publicly eviscerated Keir Starmer in a confrontation so brutal that the entire chamber froze. Clips are already detonating across social media. The press is scrambling and Labour HQ is in full-blown panic mode. If you think British politics couldn't melt down any faster, you're about to see how wrong you are. Thursday, 12:04 p.m, House of Commons, a supposedly routine policy statement. MPs half awake. Journalists scrolling their phones, Starmer trying his best, calm, responsible leader expression. Everything is dull, predictable. Until the moment Nigel Farage stands up with that look on his face, the look that says he's about to end someone's career and enjoy every second of it. The chamber shifts, phones lift, conversations stop. Even Starmer straightens in his seat, sensing danger. Farage begins speaking, slow, measured, devastating. Prime Minister, you told this nation you'd restore trust. Instead, we've seen confusion, backtracking, and a government so overwhelmed it can't even control its own agenda. Not loud, not dramatic, just cold, surgical dismantling. Starmer's smile flickers. His hand tightens around the dispatch box. The room feels smaller now. Farage continues, each line sharper than the last. You promised competence, but the country sees chaos. You promised clarity, but your policies change more often than your excuses. You promised leadership. Yet here we are, watching your government fold under the slightest pressure. Every word hits. MPs shift uncomfortably. Starmer's face reddens just slightly, but enough that cameras zoom in. He tries to laugh it off, but it comes out strained, brittle. The kind of laugh a man uses to hide panic. Then Farage drops the line that detonates the chamber. The truth is, Prime Minister, you're not leading this country. You're clinging to it. Gasps ripple. A few MPs actually cover their mouths. Starmer jolts upright like he's been slapped. And suddenly his composure, already cracking, shatters completely. His voice rises, sharper than usual. This is nonsense, utter nonsense, he snaps, breaking protocol, interrupting Farage mid-statement. The speaker tries to intervene, but Starmer barrels onward, finger stabbing the air, eyes blazing. You don't speak for Britain, you inflame it. Now the chamber isn't shocked. It's stunned. This isn't the calm statesman his team sells to the world. This is a man losing grip on the debate, on the moment, maybe even on his leadership. But Farage? He doesn't raise his voice, he doesn't blink. He simply says, Prime Minister, this reaction tells the country everything it needs to know. And the silence that follows is catastrophic. Phones are out, cameras rolling, journalists typing furiously, MPs whispering. He's cracking again. And Starmer knows it. His breathing changes, his posture collapses, his reply turns messy, emotional, defensive, exactly the opposite of what a leader needs to be in front of millions. And then something happens that no one in the entire chamber saw coming, something that ignites the biggest political storm of the year. What happens next? It hits Westminster like a grenade rolled under the front bench. Starmer, already rattled and visibly shaking with anger, steps forward, completely ignoring the speaker's warning to resume his seat. MPs lean back instinctively as if watching someone walk straight into traffic. His voice cracks as he snaps. I will not sit here and be lectured by a man who has spent decades dividing this country. The outburst is loud enough that even the microphones distort. You can actually see Labour MPs wince. They know it. Everyone knows it. This isn't strategy. This isn't leadership. This is a full emotional meltdown happening live in the most powerful room in the country. Farage doesn't need to say a word. He simply raises an eyebrow, the same way someone does when they've hit the exact nerve they were aiming for. The chamber is dead silent. No heckling, no laughter, not even the usual muttering. just the sound of the speaker desperately trying to regain control. Prime Minister, you will control yourself and respect the rules of this house. Starmer doesn't even turn his head. He keeps ranting louder, harsher, like a man trying to drown out his own humiliation. This country deserves better than your poisonous rhetoric. And then the moment that freezes the entire chamber happens. Starmer slams his hand on the dispatch box. Hard, the sound echoes. The speaker stands immediately. He's had enough. Order, order! The Prime Minister will withdraw his remarks and resume his seat at once. But Starmer doesn't. He physically can't. He's too far gone. His voice cracks again. No, Mr. Speaker, I will not let this man rewrite the truth. That's it. That's the line he crosses. That's the second the Speaker invokes a parliamentary rule so old and so rarely used that most viewers don't even know it exists. Understanding Order 43, I formally order the Prime Minister to withdraw from this chamber. Gasps, real audible gasps. A Prime Minister being told to leave the House of Commons. That has almost no precedent in modern British history. It's the political equivalent of watching a monarch drop the crown in front of a live audience. Starmer freezes. The fight drains from his face in one horrifying moment of clarity. For a split second, he looks like a man waking up in the middle of a nightmare he created himself. You cannot be serious, he whispers, voice small now, the rage replaced by disbelief. But the Speaker does not flinch. Security will escort the Prime Minister if he refuses to comply. And then it happens. The moment that will be replayed millions of times before the day is over. 2 security officers enter the chamber. Slow, calm, unmistakable. MPs shift in their seats like they're watching the collapse of an empire. Starmer looks around wildly, searching for allies on his own benches. None move. None even make eye contact. Labour MPs sit stiff, pale, horrified, because they know what this looks like to the world. A leader out of control, a government in free fall. With the entire chamber staring, Starmer finally steps away from the dispatch box, shoulders slumped, breathing shallow. Every camera captures it from every angle. The most powerful man in Britain being escorted out of the House of Commons like an unruly schoolboy. And then, just as Starmer reaches the exit, Farage speaks again, quiet, controlled, devastating. This is what happens, Prime Minister, when you cannot answer for your failures. Even Labour MPs shut their eyes. It is a killing blow delivered with absolute calmness. Within seconds of Starmer leaving the chamber, phones start buzzing in every MP's pocket. Social media detonates. The clip spreads like wildfire. Newsrooms interrupt programming mid-broadcast. Hashtags explode globally. Commentators call it the greatest political humiliation in modern British history. Farage's team releases a single sentence on social media. Leadership requires composure. It gets millions of views in minutes. Inside Labour HQ, aides are crying, literally crying, as they scramble to produce emergency statements. Cabinet ministers huddle around TVs in silence. WhatsApp groups leak instantly. One Labour MP writes, "He's finished." Another, "We cannot survive this." Meanwhile, Reform UK's membership website crashes from the sudden flood of new sign-ups. Donation pages buckle. Farage is trending above world leaders. American networks run the clip on a loop. European diplomats issue statements about ongoing instability in London. The pound dips. Polling companies post emergency surveys. In one Snap poll, 72% say Starmer lost control. Another shows his approval falling off a cliff. And yet what erupts next makes this meltdown look tame. Because the fallout is about to reveal something far darker, far more chaotic and far more destructive than anyone inside Westminster expected. If Britain thought the humiliation inside the Commons was the climax, the next 72 hours prove it was merely the opening shot of a political earthquake. As Starmer disappears behind the chamber doors, the narrative escapes his control instantly. Every newsroom on the planet is running one question: is the Prime Minister still fit to lead? Labour officials desperately try to spin the meltdown as passion, frustration, even humanity. But the public isn't buying a single line. Focus groups across the country use words like unhinged, unstable, we're losing it, and the most damning of all, not a leader. Clip after clip floods the internet. Starmer shaking, shouting, slamming the dispatch box, then being escorted out like a man who'd been removed for his own safety. It becomes the most viral UK political video of the decade. The silence from Downing Street is deafening. No public statement, no explanation, no apology, nothing. For 3 days, the official prime ministerial channels go dark. And in that silence, Farage dominates the airwaves. Interview after interview, he is cool, composed, statesmanlike. He always uses the same phrase, Britain needs calm leadership. It is simple, devastating and impossible for Labour to counter when every screen in the nation is replaying a furious Starmer being marched out of Parliament. Even international leaders quietly express concern. In Brussels, a spokesperson says the EU is monitoring UK stability. In Washington, officials describe the meltdown as worrying. Australian broadcasters call it the moment Britain lost its Prime Minister. Meanwhile, inside the Labour Party, panic turns into outright mutiny. Cabinet ministers send frantic messages to one another saying Starmer must get ahead of this or the party is finished. But he doesn't. He won't. Starmer refuses his all interviews, cancels public appearances, locks himself inside number 10 while advisers argue about whether he should resign before the polling collapse becomes permanent. MP after MP leaks messages to the press. One says he's hiding. Another writes, we cannot knock on doors with this man as leader. A senior Labour figure tells reporters privately, he's not just damaged, he's done. And then the numbers drop. Hard. Labour falls to 24% nationally, their lowest level in almost 2 decades. Reform UK blasts past them into second place for the first time in British history. Farage's personal approval skyrockets. Newspapers call it the Farage surge. In the north of England, long-time Labour strongholds break away. Polls show Reform leading in constituencies once considered untouchable. This isn't a wobble, it's a collapse. British politics is being redrawn in real time. But the real bomb drops when constitutional lawyers announce what no one had fully realised. Standing Order 43... yes, the rule used to eject Starmer from the chamber has never been tested in the Supreme Court. Overnight, legal experts flood news channels asking unprecedented questions. Can a Prime Minister forcibly removed from Parliament still legitimately govern? Does the Speaker have power over the executive? Has the UK just crossed a constitutional line no one can cross back from? Suddenly, Britain isn't just dealing with a political crisis, it's facing a constitutional one. Petitions call for a vote of no confidence. Some demand Starmer resign immediately. Others argue that the Speaker overstepped his authority. Commentators declare the country is entering uncharted territory. The Supreme Court announces it will review the legality of the Prime Minister's expulsion, something unheard of in modern democracy. Both Parliament and the government freeze, waiting for a verdict that could redefine the balance of power in the nation. If the court rules for Parliament, Starmer becomes the first PM in history formally subdued by the Speaker. If the court rules in his favour, Britain must confront the image of a leader who publicly lost control and then hid from the nation he's meant to lead. Either way, the damage is irreversible. And while the legal chaos swirls, Farage hits the road, launching a nationwide tour that draws massive crowds. He plays the clip before nearly every speech. This is your Prime Minister, he tells audiences, and this is the consequence of weak leadership. The crowds roar every time. People who have never voted Reform before suddenly cheer his name. Journalists report that the mood feels less like a campaign and more like a political shift. A realignment decades in the making. Labour, meanwhile, appears to be disintegrating. Councillors defect. Local parties revolt. Shadow ministers resign one after another, refusing to defend a leader who can't defend himself. Finally, 10 days after the meltdown, Starmer emerges, pale, exhausted, his voice thin. He tries to explain, he tries to defend, but the country has already moved on. His approval rating is in freefall, his authority is gone. His party is in open rebellion. Behind the scenes, 20 senior Labour MPs submit letters of no confidence. Reporters gather outside Parliament with a single question on their lips. Is this the end of Keir Starmer? Yet even that isn't the climax, because just as the dust begins to settle, the Supreme Court confirms the date of its emergency ruling, a decision that will determine the future of British leadership, the power of Parliament and the stability of the